Well, congratulations! You got to the end of the first week of the Functional Programming in Erlang MOOC. We've covered quite a lot. We've talked about why we should look at Erlang in the first place, what's distinctive about it, where it came from inside Ericsson. And then we've looked at the core of Erlang. We've looked at what data types it supports, the things that are familiar and some things that will be less familiar, like functions as data and atoms. We've looked at the general structure of an Erlang system. It's divided into modules. The main unit of definition is a function, so each module has a collection of functions. And we distinguish functions by their arity. So a function factorial with one argument is completely different from a function factorial with two arguments. We call functions typically inside a module by their fully qualified form. So we have module colon function as the general way that we call functions. So Erlang has a flat namespace of module and function. Each function itself is built up of a number of clauses, and we distinguish between clauses using pattern matching. That's one of the new things that you'll have discovered this week. And we use pattern matching for two things. One is to switch between clauses, but the other is if you have a complex argument, you can pattern match over components of that argument and extract them using pattern matching. And it's that combination of distinguishing cases and pulling apart complex data, so discrimination and selection, that allows us to write very compact, very readable definitions in Erlang. So we've seen how to do that, and then we concentrated on recursion, which is the way that we get repetitive behaviour. We can loop through numbers and so on using recursion. I showed you what I call direct recursion, where the definition, so something like factorial of n is factorial of n minus 1 times n. And I also showed you the tail recursive version of that, where we compute by changing the values of parameters to the function. And those parameters, those arguments, play the role of updatable variables in more traditional languages. So we've seen how to do bread and butter programming in Erlang. What we're going to do next time is really speed things up, start doing much more powerful sorts of definition by working over lists. Lists are a compound data structure that we use for collections and so on. And lists seem to feature in every sort of Erlang system. And we'll also look at how funds come into that, so we'll do a bit of higher order programming as well. So next week we'll be looking at lists. But I hope this week has got you established with the basics of the language and that you're ready to join us at the beginning of next week to start looking at lists. So thanks very much.